Well, thank you for joining me. I'm pleased to be joined by Tim Maag, and you are the Vice President and General Manager of Mortenson's Wind Group. Is that correct?
That's correct. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Just to read a little bit from your bio on the website, Tim leverages 40 years of construction experience to deliver successful projects. Tim is genuinely passionate about the wind industry and equally passionate about ensuring that every customer has an exceptional experience with Mortenson. His ambition for construction is fueled by the challenge of driving out waste, lowering costs, and delivering high quality, fast track, schedule intense projects. And Tim is an active board member of the American Wind Energy Association. So, so that's your introduction.
Well, thanks.
So I guess I was wondering if you could, I know that Mortenson has been quite active in the wind energy sector for some time. Can you give me a sense of sort of how you got into this niche and how many projects you've completed in Minnesota and across the country over the years?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, we are incredibly blessed to be in the wind energy space and to be a leader in the industry. We have, first of all, it's a great industry. It's the right industry to be in, and we have just some absolutely amazing customers. Most people don't think that the wind industry has been around that long, but we've actually been in the wind industry now since 1995. So we just celebrated, 25 years of being in the wind industry. And during that time, Brian, I think you asked about projects in Minnesota, and I think we completed 23 projects in Minnesota and one repowering project. So with the new wind and the repowering in Minnesota, that's about 2,500 megawatts of the wind in Minnesota that we've been fortunate to be a part of. And then when I think about the industry as a whole in that last 25 years, we've installed about 30,000 megawatts, and that's getting close to 200 individual wind projects. So it's been a great run.
Yeah, that is quite, and it is surprising that it's been around that long. You mentioned repowering, and that's kind of it seems like a new buzzword that we're hearing in the industry. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that entails? It sounds like as some of this infrastructure gets older, there's a need to maintain it, and is that essentially what we're talking about?
Well, Brian, that is part of it. When you think about when you think about the wind industry, some of the early projects that were constructed in some of the absolute best wind resources. So, and some of those facilities are coming up on 15, 20, 25 years old. So repowering's really become popular starting back in probably 2017, where we would go in and really upgrade the facility by sometimes putting on a larger rotor, maybe updating the generator and putting a new gearbox or maybe even a new nacelle on, and that's really going to increase the output of the facility and renew its life, if you will, well into the future. So we started getting into that with our customers back in 2017, and I think we are somewhere around 23 or 24 projects that we've repowered since that time.
Mm-hmm. Do you see that as a real growth area in the sector?
I do. I do, for the reasons we talked about earlier, where some of the earlier sites have the best wind resource, and they're already interconnected to the grid. So it's just great to continue that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is your overall outlook for the wind industry here in 2021 and beyond?
Yeah, well, I'm an optimist when it comes to renewables, and I'm very bullish on the wind industry. We're just coming off of two, back-to-back years, 2019 and 2020, where they were just watershed years high watermark years for us in terms of revenue and megawatts installed. And 2021 won't be as robust as 2020, but it will still be a very, very good year. I think in 2020 we worked on 23 or 4 projects. In 2021, we're going to be working on about 14 to 15 projects, including repower. And we're going to be working in, I just counted it up the other day, I think 14 different states. So like Minnesota, California, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Washington, Oregon. So pretty much from coast to coast, we'll be spread across the country in 2021. So it's going to be a good year.
Okay. Any particular projects here in Minnesota that you can highlight, either current or in the pipeline?
Yeah, we just finished a project in Minnesota last fall called Nobles for Elite Clean Energy and Tenaska. And then in 2021, later this year, we hope to start a repowering project for Excel, repowering the original Nobles project.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, what do you see as some of the challenges or headwinds, no pun intended, that the industry might be facing in the coming years?
Yeah. If I think of headwinds, my mind usually goes right to available transmission lines and interconnect points to tie the renewable power in. As you know, Brian, some of the best wind resources aren't necessarily located right by some of the biggest load centers. So transmission, is probably that biggest constraint for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just to touch on one thing that's been in the news, that wind power has come under a little bit of scrutiny, given what's happened with the recent severe weather in Texas and the mass power outages and so on. There's images of frozen wind turbines appearing on social media and things like that. What is your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, ERCOT, we'll be studying this, and they are studying this, and they'll figure out exactly, what the issues were and what took place. You're right. Wind, unfortunately and unfairly, came under scrutiny, and it's unfortunate that when you have an event like we did in Texas, that it becomes political. I thought the American Clean Power Association did a good job of responding to that, and again, I think what we need to do is let ERCOT come study it, come out with the facts, and then deal with facts. Very unfortunate situation, and when I think about it, once again, the linemen and the utilities down there did a remarkable job, and there's a lot of people that worked in some very unfortunate weather conditions to restore power as quickly as they possibly could. So my gratitude and appreciation goes out to those folks that did everything they could to restore the power.
Mm-hmm. And when you mentioned ERCOT, can you remind me what that acronym stands for? That's the regulatory body down there?
Yeah. So ERCOT is like the electrical. Let's see, what is it? The Electrical Reliability Council of Texas. That's
right. And from what I understand, there were failures across the board with the gas plant.
Absolutely.
Everything. So it's.
Wind turbines operate in all sorts of conditions, and Brian, you're from Minnesota. You've seen 20 and 20 plus below weather days, and you see turbines that are operating then.
Mm-hmm.
Wind turbines do have a cold weather package that can be installed, and to make them operate in some of the absolute most, or some of the most severe conditions out there. So Yeah, if some of the turbines in Texas don't have that cold weather package, that's a pretty easy fix.
Hmm. That kind of ties into the repowering aspect that you were talking about, doesn't it? I mean, there's always ways to improve the existing infrastructure.
Yeah, I would say repowering is quite a bit different than that. Really, the cold weather package that could be installed, I think, could be easily installed by just through the normal routine maintenance
Hmm.
of the turbines.
So that's an even simpler fix then.
Yes, much,
Okay.
much.
Okay. Well, I know I'm familiar. I have a daughter who attends the University of Minnesota's Morris campus, and they have a lot of wind turbines around there, and
Hmm.
she loves it. She thinks it's great, and they seem to be doing really well. So it looks like there's a strong future for all renewables, including wind. So
Yeah, absolutely. Again, very bullish, and I think we're heading in the right directions with respect to renewables here in the United States.
hmm. Okay. Well, are there any other thoughts you have before we let you go here? We certainly appreciate your time.
Well, no, thank you. Love the industry and love talking about it. So, Brian, if there's anything further you want to talk about, give me a shout. Would love to connect. So, but thanks for your time.
Sounds great. And thank you as well, Tim. Take care.
Okay, bye now.